others all the time,
Hey,
Darth.
did you assert
Well,
a few
offense is the
minutes ago?
best type of defense.
Did you assert a few minutes ago certain possibilities? The answer is yes. Now, those possibilities are specific to some ultimacy. Now, what is the ultimacy or ultimate prerequisite that secures those possibilities? Could you tell me?
The problem with this approach is that rather than defending your worldview, you merely attack others. And
Okay.
so rather than actually building up your own worldview in any meaningful way, you simply try to cast doubt on the opposition. The
No,
reason you do this, to me, is because you can't realistically defend why your self-authenticating God is better than the Muslim self-authenticating God, or in fact, any other God.
Well, that's not my position. My position is not that the Christian God is better. The Christian position is that the Christian God is the only one that exists and that he has revealed this. Now, if
Sure.
you,
And the Muslim
if you,
position
okay,
would be that
okay,
the Muslim God is
please
the only one.
do not overtalk me, okay? And by the way, if you are caught again overturning my mutes, you're going to be in big freaking trouble with Saz. Do you understand that? Communist boy?
Yep.
Okay, have you been behind the scenes circumventing my modding?
I don't believe so. I've asked Patriot
Okay,
to stay quiet since
sir,
you keep muting him over and over.
Sir, somebody who had access to the server logs said that the server logs indicated that you were immediately overturning my server mutes. Did you do that?
For Patriot Act, when you mute someone before they speak.
Did you overturn my server mutes on a number of occasions?
The only one I know of is Patriot Act, and Patriot Act you muted before he spoke.
Did you overturn my server mutes a number of times?
I've answered this. Like I keep telling you, I've overturned Patriot Act because it wasn't valid in any way to mute someone before they speak.
Listen, sir, you do not have the prerogative nor the authority to overturn or to make an evaluation whether my server mutes are valid or not. If you do it one more time and I find out about it, the shit's going to hit the fan with Saz. You're already on thin ice with Saz.
I know. You've been saying this for like 6 months.
Right. So, good. Okay. So, hey, listen, punk asshole. Answer the question.
Ah, brilliant. More demeaning.
Okay.
So
I asked
first we shifted over to the mod discussion. And then you shifted back over to the punk asshole.
You're now muted. Don't overtalk me. Now, you have asserted a number of possibilities. You made these assertions. But your invocation of these assertions is based upon probabilities. But you told me the basis of the probabilities is unknown. Why are you asserting possibilities when you asserted that the foundation for it is unknown? Can you explain that?
Again, you're basically avoiding my question to you, right? So like we've already had this discussion, Darth, and you reject my worldview. That's fine, but you need to reject others.
I'm still waiting for. I asked you a legitimate philosophical question, sir. Now,
I know
you told me that all of your truth claims and knowledge claims were based upon a probabilistic assessment. You also told me that any probabilistic assessment depends upon the principle of causality, but that the principle of causality was unknown. Now, so that means that your truth claims are based upon you don't know. So why should we listen to your truth claims when you have admitted on microphone that the truth claims are based upon I don't know?
Because even in your worldview, it should be obvious to you that Muslims believe in a self-authenticating God. And if your basis for your belief is a self-authenticating God who exists, it should be obvious that others have the same belief. Until you can disprove others with a similar belief structure as yours, you can't choose your belief over theirs.
What you are doing right now, and it's glaringly obvious to everybody in the room, is you're simply being dishonest. I am attempting to communicate to you. I am taking your assertions and asking you about that, and you are completely ignoring and filibustering because you know that you cannot answer it. If you could answer it, you would do so. Now, your truth claim that you just made, it rests upon a probabilistic analysis. This is what you emphatically told me. Now, I will ask you a very simple question. I do not want a monologue. I do want an answer. Either you did or you did not assert that your knowledge and truth claims are based upon a probabilistic assessment. Is that correct?
Why must you spend 3 minutes for a build up to a yes/no question, Darth? What does this get you?
Is that correct, Communist Boy, that your truth and knowledge claims have their foundation in a probabilistic assessment?
Every time we talk about my epistemology, you really prevented me from explaining in depth. So this is the reason I don't want to go there again. I wanted to try a different conversation with you.
Did you make such an assertion on several occasions?
Yes, I have claimed that causality is key, or at least the idea of fuzzy logic is key.
No, I didn't ask
any
you.
Sort of epistemology.
I didn't ask you about fuzzy logic. Okay. Now I ask you, did you make the assertion on a number of occasions that any truth claim that you make is the result of a probabilistic assessment? Have you made this statement a number of times?
No, because you've misinterpreted it each time.
Okay.
My claim is that post-epistemology truth claims cannot be absolute. Pre-epistemology don't really exist in the realm of truth.
Stop being dishonest. I'm going to unmute you now. What you are doing now is you are engaging in total dishonesty. Did you assert that all of your truth claims to my face and to others on several occasions, every knowledge and truth claim that you make is the product of a probabilistic assessment? Did you say that?
I think I've already told you that this is not true, that you've misinterpreted my views, and that you continue to misinterpret my views.
You did not assert to me directly to quote unquote my face that any knowledge claim that you make is the product of a probabilistic assessment. You did not say that.
Oh my God. Because knowledge isn't everything you know. Okay. I can differentiate different kinds of knowledge. In fact, I would if you gave me any time ever.
Okay, listen to me. If you lie to me right now, I'm gonna, as soon as I get Sass on there, you're gonna be in deep shit. I will ask you again, and it's very obvious to everybody in the room that you are terrified from answering the question. Did you assert in these rooms several times and to my face and to my ears that all of your truth and knowledge claims are ultimately probabilistic in nature?
After you establish probability, that is your epistemology, then all the things that follow are based on probability.
I didn't ask you for an explanation or an elucidation. I said, did you make that stipulation?
Oh my God.
So you want a non-stability answer or something?
Did you make the stipulation?
It's like talking to a brick wall, Darth.
I asked you several times. I'll ask you again. Did you assert to me on several occasions and before other people in the rooms that all of your knowledge claims are ultimately probabilistic assessments? Did you assert that?
If I asserted it, I was wrong. I should restate it as I'm doing now.
Oh, so you made an emphatic assertion that you now say was wrong. Why was it wrong?
Because you never let me explain my ideas. And no, so because it becomes impossible to add any nuance to anything ever.
Why was your bold assertion where you absolutely demanded and insisted
because you interrupt
all knowledge claims are probabilistic? So that bold assertion on your part was 100% wrong?
Oh my God. Whatever I said, if that's how you interpreted it,
no, that
was not what I truly believe.
Sir,
so yes, it was wrong even to me.
I'm quoting you directly, sir. It's not an interpretation. Did you assert clearly that all of your knowledge and truth claims are ultimately probabilistic in nature? Did you assert that?
You know that I've already answered you, right? You just want a yes
so that you can
push forward on this because your way of arguing isn't actually to engage ideas.
Did you assert
people.
that? Did you see what you are so uncomfortable right now? And
I'm not actually.
Everyone in the
pissed.
room.
You are a dishonest arguer.
Do you know why? It's because I am cutting through your bullshit mode and I am exposing to everybody your fundamental dishonesty. I have asked you a very simple, fair, and clear question, and
none of those were true.
You are being entirely evasive. Now, did you assert that all of your truth claims and anyone's truth claims are ultimately probabilistic in nature? Did you assert that?
I would assert that all truth claims that follow epistemology must be based on probability, whether you acknowledge it or not. However, before epistemology, there cannot be causality.
So is the answer yes? Is that yes? Did you assert that all knowledge and truth claims are ultimately probabilistic in nature?
Give him one.
Darth, this is why I say you only want a yes or a no.
Is that an answer yes?
In order for him to speak, you are going to need to give him a few seconds of time.
Nah, it's Dawkins. He never does that.
Yeah, I know. I was.
Yeah, Darth doesn't ever want to debate and like.
Okay, I'm waiting for an answer. Did you assert that?
What you said, I said. I don't believe. So if I asserted it, I was wrong about my own beliefs.
Wait a minute. You stated it on at least 3, if not 4 occasions. Are you telling me that your memory is so poor that you don't remember boldly asserting that? Because I clearly remember you boldly asserting it.
What I'm telling you is that it's hard to raise any claim with you when you interrupt before anyone can finish a sentence. And so everything becomes a bold claim with you because nuance is impossible.
Did you boldly assert that all of your truth claims and knowledge claims are ultimately probabilistic in nature on at least, if not 4 occasions?
Really?
Well, I'm waiting for an answer. Did you boldly assert that?
I don't even know how to talk to you, Darth. It's
a yes or no question.
This isn't a yes or no question, right?
You see, here's the problem.
When he says, have you said X? And I say no. When he says, no, you did say that, you're lying to me. And the reason is because I said something close to it.
What you don't realize.
That's not what I believe.
Listen.
And so if I said it, it's not what I actually hold.
Right.
He would attack me as straw man.
Okay, what you don't realize is.
This is why instead of attacking ideas, he wants to attack me. This is absurd.
Okay, what you're doing right now is you have fallen into my trap. You know what my trap is?
Fallen into his trap card.
Right. Fallen into his trap. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, please. Now, you fell right into my trap because I knew that you wouldn't answer the question. You would refuse to answer the question. What I'm attempting to do is to show everyone in the room how entirely evasive you are with verbal misdirection. Okay, so you're exposing yourself that you cannot be a truthful and transparent person. All you have is a barrage of machine gun verbosity, and you can't even answer a very simple and clear question. That's
I actually answered you, Darth. If you were listening, I answered 6 or 7 times.
I didn't hear a clear answer. So did you boldly assert on 3 or 4 occasions that all of your knowledge and truth claims are ultimately probabilistic in nature? Did you boldly assert that?
That exact thing? No. And if I did, I was wrong.
Okay, well, actually, you did assert it on 4 occasions, which now means to me is that you have some type of amnesia or memory problem. Okay.
Like, Darth, I've explicitly told you that doesn't matter. Like, this shouldn't even matter to you, right? It shouldn't matter what I said to you in the past. You should check my ideas now. You shouldn't need to have personal attacks.
Okay, so
you should be able to engage my ideas regardless of what I've said in the past.
Okay, well, why are your ideas worthy of consideration? Is there a justificatory path to establish that those beliefs are true?
Yeah, and I've argued it multiple times with you, and you reject it each time, and that's fine. You have continued to evade all of my claims this conversation.
What is the justificatory path for you to establish that an asserted belief is true? What's the justificatory path? What is the ultimate interpreter that guarantees that a state of affairs actually exists? Is it human reason? Because in the Christian worldview, the guarantee for truth, the definition of truth in the Christian worldview is that which conforms to the mind of God. But you wouldn't accept that. So you would probably hold to truth as that which conforms to reality. Now, what is the justificatory path for any truth claim that you have? How is it ultimately to be determined? Is it probabilistic or not probabilistic?
Sure, it's probabilistic after you choose an epistemology. So I believe that epistemology is based on coherency.
So that would be the foundation, right? So what would be the ultimate ultimacy of reality or ultimate stopping point to confirm that something is the case?
Sure, and what I've said to you before is that ultimately you have to make a choice.
What is the fundamental starting point?
I don't think you're going to let me answer. This is the reason I don't want to talk to you.
Is there a fundamental starting point that is guaranteed that you reason from?
Yes, and I've tried to tell you it multiple times, and you interrupt each time. So I assert that at some point you have to choose a way to choose ideas, because otherwise you'd have to accept all ideas as true.
Okay, you're just generalizing now. I asked you, what is the fundamental starting point that is guaranteed that you build on?
This is a guaranteed point, because every person, every actor would be faced with a choice where either they have to accept all ideas as true.
I didn't
or
ask
accept
you.
only a
I didn't
subset
ask
of
you
those.
that question. What you're doing now, is what is called verbal misdirection. I didn't
You just
ask
say this.
you.
That's not a
I
debunking of what I
didn't
said.
ask you. You're over talking me. Okay, everyone in the room, he's doing verbal misdirection, which he has habitated to doing. Now, I asked you, not what other people do. I'm asking you, what is your absolute fundamental starting point that you reason from that is guaranteed, or do you start from a fundamental starting point that is simply the product of your imagination?
And what you just did there wasn't a response to anything I said, right? So I claim that every person must make a choice either to accept all ideas or to accept a subset of ideas.
Okay,
this
communist
is
boy, you're repeating yourself,
and you didn't respond to it. You merely called it
Communist boy.
verbal misdirection.
You're falling into my trap again. Okay, I put the worm on the hook, and my goal is not to change your mind, because I can't change your will. But you've fallen into my trap again. I'm demonstrating to everybody in the room how entirely and utterly evasive you are. Now I
presented an idea. You didn't review it. That's like not a debate at all.
Listen, the more you try your verbal misdirection, the more you are demonstrating to people in the room that you've fallen for my trap, which you have done nicely.
Get you in his trap every
So, Darth,
time.
do you actually have a response to everyone?
Communist boy. Now, when you make any truth or knowledge claims, do they ultimately start from some fundamental point that is guaranteed?
Indeed, and I've already been giving you
one.
one.
Or is that fundamental starting point the product of your imagination?
I've already been giving you one, and you haven't responded to it. You've merely called it verbal misdirection 3 times over without responding to it substantively. That fundamental basis, which I've already told you and which you're trying to interrupt again, is, first, you have an infinite set of ideas which could be true. You have to.
How do you know that? How do you know there are an infinite set of ideas?
Sure. So when you have no way to determine if things are true, you'd have no way to either reject or accept anything.
Do you have a way of determining something is true?
Oh boy, here we go.
It's just endlessly like this.
No, do you have a way of ultimately?
I can't advance any idea with you.
Okay,
any idea.
So can you tell me and everyone else in the room, what is the most fundamental starting point?
I've been telling you that. You keep interrupting each time.
Okay, listen. What is the most fundamental starting point that is guaranteed that you reason from, or is that fundamental starting point just simply something that you select in your imagination?
Darth, I've already answered you maybe 5 times. You haven't responded to what I said.
What is that fundamental point?
I already did actually say the fundamental point is the choice between infinite ideas and a subset of ideas. It's a way to choose what is true. Every person must make this.
Okay, so basically, your most fundamental starting point is just simply an arbitrary selection?
Because if you don't choose that, you'd have no way to know anything.
Okay. Is that your position, that your most fundamental commitment that you reason from an arbitrary starting point?
It probably goes a little deeper than that, but I'm trying to do something.
Okay,
that people,
so either it is arbitrary, either your most fundamental starting point is arbitrary or not arbitrary. Which is it?
I claim that this is an objective choice.
Your most fundamental starting point that you reason from, is it arbitrary or not arbitrary?
Oh my God. I literally answered that. Like, even in the terms you wanted me to use, and you rejected it. It is impossible to talk with you, Darth. It is impossible to talk with you.
All I heard was
everything you do is just a redirection to another attack, rather than actually responding to what I say. You don't debate, you merely attack.
Right. By the way, all the men in the room, okay, all of the men here, for those of you who are single and planning on getting married, when you get married and you get into a relationship from women, this is precisely how women reason.
That's
okay.
Wow.
Now, yeah.
Like, Darth, really your best attack on me that I'm reasoning like a woman? So, this is actually pretty funny. Yeah. Like this, I think this reveals a lot more about you, Darth, than I think you'd hope to.
Still waiting. What is your most fundamental starting point?
Darth, I told you it.
That fundamental starting point, is it guaranteed to be the case, or is it the product of your imagination? I'm waiting.
Should I repeat myself a 10th time?
What is that fundamental starting point? Is it guaranteed or is it arbitrary?
Darth, I've already told you. I've literally in these terms told you. Each time you've merely ignored it and then asked the same question over again.
What is the fundamental starting point that you build on? Is it arbitrary or not arbitrary?
He's waiting.
He is waiting, but whatever I say, he's going to say the same thing afterwards. So does it really matter?
I'm not hearing you give me non-evasive response. Now,
first of all, non-evasive responses are immensely arbitrary.
What is your fundamental starting point, your ultimate commitment that you reason from about everything? Is that ultimate starting point and commitment arbitrary or not arbitrary?
So I claim that everyone must make a choice.
No, I didn't ask you about everyone. I'm asking about you.
I claim that I and everyone else.
No, I'm not interested. One more time. I do not want to hear you talk about what anyone else does. I'm asking you, what is your fundamental starting point, your ultimate commitment that you reason from everything from? Is that fundamental starting point guaranteed or is it arbitrary?
I am so done with this conversation, Darth. Every time I've told you the same answer, you've merely asked the same question. You haven't responded to anything I've said, and you've only redirected to another tack. Even at the start of this conversation, you wouldn't answer my question about why you couldn't reject a Muslim's worldview by merely saying, well, you can't hold that worldview because you're an atheist. That wasn't a response to what I said. This fucking sucks, Darth. When I tell you that everyone must make this choice, I am telling you it is objective because objective means that every person must make it. So when I tell you that everyone must do X, I'm telling you it is objective that
Calm the fuck down!
Okay.
So if you could stop interrupting me, I could tell you all of these things, but you never stop talking. You don't actually have a debate. You merely want to attack other people.
Exactly.
Okay, so now, is it possible?
Hey, off to the gulag.
Now, in the case that the Christian world is actual, okay, would that contradict what you just said?
If the Christian worldview were actual, people would still have to make a choice to believe things.
No, you're not understanding it, because you see, in the Christian worldview, our most fundamental starting points would be God ordained. They wouldn't be choices by definition. Now,
if you start from the Christian worldview, this would be true.
Good. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
But you can't start there. That's invalid.
In the case that the Christian world,
You're factually.
Okay, listen to me. In the Christian world, in the case that the Christian worldview is actual, if it was actual, would it contradict what you just said?
If the Christian worldview were true, were veridical, were valid, what I said, this would not be false. Things that I said before in the conversation would be false.
Sir, in the Christian worldview, does God ordain our most fundamental states of mind?
That depends on which Christian worldview. I don't.
Okay, sir, in the Bible, when Adam opened up his mind and he began looking around, thinking and speaking, did God make him in his image and ordain his fundamental states of mind? The answer is yes. Now,
he's merely made him in his image. He didn't say that he ordained his fundamental states of mind. That's a bit of a reach.
Listen to me. I keep on putting the worm on the hook, and you keep on biting on it. Now, in the case that the Christian world is actual, would it contradict your assertion about fundamentals?
This one, no. This one precedes even the idea of Christianity or the Christian worldview.
Okay, listen, communist boy, the reason why I've gotten so angry with you in the past is because of your utter and complete dishonesty. Now, in the Christian worldview, mankind's most fundamental cognitive starting points within the Christian worldview are God ordained.
Yeah, and this is precognitive.
May I finish, please?
You always finish, Darth.
Okay. Now, in the Christian worldview, these fundamental cognitive states are God ordained. They are not chosen. Okay. Now, if those fundamental cognitive states are God ordained, would it contradict what you claim to be the fundamental starting points?
No, because these are precognitive.
Okay,
Before you even consider how to think,
you're not.
you can't.
Dude, this is really, really getting embarrassing for you. I mean, I don't know how to put it another
It's so
way.
embarrassing that you can't even let me say my ideas or actually refute them.
Communist
right?
boy.
Like you haven't said a rebuttal this entire time. You really asked another question. It's not a Socratic question.
Out of all the people that I have debated in the last 10 years, you will keep on moving up the ranks of within the top 10 people who are intellectually dishonest and evasive. Now,
I'm happy to hear that you keep that, but you haven't refuted it.
It necessarily follows in the Christian worldview that in terms of our most fundamental mental states, we know certain things because God has made us to know this, whether or not we can articulate either to ourselves or others how we know it. Now, this is by definition within the Christian worldview. So those most fundamental mental states or starting points, right, are not choices within the Christian worldview. Now, in the case that the Christian worldview is actual, would that contradict your position that the most fundamental starting points are not God ordained, but are choices?
Yeah, I've already told you it would not be, because these things must precede cognition.
Are you
because
saying
I've told you that in order to be able to choose one belief over another, in order to even be able to think.
Listen, I don't want to have to server mute you. I want you to
give me. You want a yes/no question for everything, and it's a worthless discussion.
Instead of doing your machine gun talking, I just want a simple answer. It's a non.
No, you want a yes/no, Darth. Okay. You don't want a discussion.
I would like to know a very simple and clear answer to the question. In the Christian worldview, are our most fundamental mental states ordained of God?
Mental states, yes. This is not a mental state.
Okay.
That's why I keep telling you that this will be objective, even if the Christian worldview were true.
Communist boy. Now,
so
in the Christian worldview, those elementary mental and cognitive states are God ordained. So by definition, they cannot be choices. Now, if the Christian worldview is true, would that contradict your position that our most fundamental cognitive states are choices?
This isn't a cognitive state. I don't know how I keep telling you this precedes cognition, and it is still objective. Therefore, even if God sets your cognitive states, it doesn't matter. It is objective pre-God, pre-cognition.
What you just said is gobbledygook.
Do you actually have a response to it, or you just want to insult it?
No, what you just said was gobbledygook.
Tell us why. Tell us what premise was wrong. Tell us what conclusion was wrong.
You're not making any.
You're wrong.
Sense. Okay. Now,
well, tell us why, Darth.
It's very simple. Now, I'm still waiting for a question. Okay. Is your most elementary?
So you said this was wrong. You didn't explain why. I'm done.
Dude, owner, stop interrupting.
This
conversation is over.
Okay,
it is over. He has.
Okay,
dude,
I think I accomplished my goal to show you guys how fundamentally deceitful and dishonest he is. Okay. See, he thinks because he has the aptitude to be verbally verbose and machine gun talking that makes for conversation and debate. Okay. But I did my job. I exposed him for the fraud that he is.